In the Cambridge Advanced English exam, in the writing section, you can have a proposal that you have to write. The proposal will talk about action plans for the future. So most of your answer should be about recommendations for future actions. The style should be formal and impersonal. How do you write impersonal English? You can use the passive. It is recommended that, rather than writing something like I think that. That's direct, but impersonal would be the passive. I will show you some example sentences in a moment. In the proposal, you can write some clear headings which help the examiner understand what you are writing about. It also helps you, while you are writing your answer, to be clear about the part that you are doing. Is it the introduction? Is it talking about the current situation? Or is it talking about future recommendations? I suggest that you leave your own opinions to the last part or the last section of the proposal. And actually, it doesn't have to be one continuous piece of writing like an essay, because that can be in a different part of the CAE exam. So, like in real life, you can use bullet points in your proposal. So let's look at a typical CAE proposal question. Your town council is going to improve public transport in the area, and they are inviting people who use public transport, who use it, to make proposals on how to improve the system. Write a proposal which highlights any problems you have had with local transport and give recommendations for generally improving the system. As I said in the previous video about Cambridge English exam writing tips, within your question you normally have 2 or 3 questions. So here is the first question. Highlight any problems you have had with local transport and give recommendations for generally improving the system. So let's look at the first question. Highlight any problems you have had with local transport. What problems have I had with public transport? The first thing that comes into your head, write it down. Having to wait for buses and missing start of class. The CAE or any Cambridge English exam is not a test of how creative you are with ideas, it's a test of your English. Do not waste time when you are writing the plan of your proposal. Do not waste time in trying to come up with an amazing idea. Just write down the first thing that comes into your head and move on to the next part. Give recommendations for generally improving the public transport system. To write that out as my own question, it's how would I make public transport better? First thing that comes into my head, a phone app which gives you live updates of all buses on their route. As I said a moment ago, you can have clear headings in your proposal. Let's underline that. Introduction. And what kind of language can you use for this? The aim of this proposal is you can use that for almost any proposal, any question that you get in the exam when you sit it. So it's a good phrase to remember. Or you can start it a different way. This proposal is intended to highlight the current problems and then whatever your question is about. Here's the subject with transport. And give ideas for improving. So those parts of the sentences that I have highlighted in yellow are very useful and can be used in several different kinds of proposals. It's excellent English and it starts out your answer very well, so try to remember them. Let's make our next heading current situation. And the phrases I have highlighted in yellow can be used again in several different types of answers. As the council, as the school, as the college may be aware, there are issues with whatever it is you are asked about. You can pretend that you have made a survey. It's quite common in the proposal answer to talk about a survey and the results of a survey. Following a survey among, and then whoever you are talking about, a number of concerns with regard to subject were expressed by some people. These are very useful phrases. Remember them, try to use them. Next heading, suggestions. Let's underline that. And again, we've got some nice phrases that you can use all the time. As I said a moment ago, in the proposal you should spend a good deal of your writing about future recommendations, suggestions. So let's add something else here. There should be, or it would be an advantage to, whatever you want to say, implement, have a new, give customers the option to, whatever it is you are going to talk about. So I have highlighted those in yellow because they are also very useful for your CAE proposal writing. You could then add some bullet points where you give more options, more suggestions, more recommendations. So let's move on to the last section, the conclusion. Final recommendations, another heading. It's like as if you had written conclusion. A nice conditional sentence. If these recommendations are implemented, the current situation, make it a bit stronger, the current undesirable, the current awful situation, the current situation with subject will definitely improve, is bound to improve. So there you have lots of example sentences with good vocabulary and correct grammar that will really improve your CAE proposal answers. Remember the structure, remember the formal style, and you will do very well. Good luck.